The Mahabharata is not just an epic, it's a mirror reflecting the complexities of human life. At its core lies a story of family, power, duty, and morality. But it's also a story of conflict, both external and internal. One of the most pivotal moments in this epic is the conversation between Lord Krishna and Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, a dialogue that forms the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. But here's the question that often sparks debate. Did Krishna, the embodiment of love, wisdom, and compassion, really advocate for violence? To answer this, we need to dive deep into the context, the characters, and the timeless lessons of the Mahabharata. The context: a kingdom divided. The Mahabharata begins with a kingdom divided. The Kuru dynasty, once united, is now split between the Kauravas and the Pandavas. The Kauravas, led by Duryodhan, are driven by greed, jealousy, and a hunger for power. The Pandavas, led by Yudhishthir, stand for truth, justice, and righteousness. Despite numerous attempts at peace, including Krishna's own efforts as a mediator, war becomes inevitable. The battlefield of Kurukshetra is where the two sides finally face each other, ready to fight for what they believe is right. But this isn't just a war for territory or power. It's a war for Dharma, the moral order of the universe. The Kauravas represent adharma, unrighteousness, while the Pandavas represent dharma, righteousness. This sets the stage for a conflict that goes beyond physical combat. It's a battle of ideologies, values, and the very essence of what it means to live a righteous life. Arjuna's dilemma, a crisis of conscience. As the two armies prepare for battle, Arjuna, the greatest warrior among the Pandavas, finds himself in a moral crisis. Standing in his chariot, driven by Krishna, he looks across the battlefield and sees his relatives, teachers, and friends on both sides. The thought of fighting and killing them fills him with despair. He drops his bow, Gandiva, and turns to Krishna for guidance. Arjuna's dilemma is deeply human. It's a moment of doubt, fear, and confusion that anyone can relate to. He questions the purpose of the war, the cost of victory, and the morality of his actions. What good is a kingdom if it's gained through the blood of my loved ones? He asks. How can I find happiness in killing those I respect and care for? This moment is crucial because it highlights the inner conflict that often accompanies difficult decisions. Arjuna isn't just a warrior. He's a son, a brother, a student, and a friend. His emotions are a reminder that life is rarely black and white, and that doing the right thing isn't always easy. Krishna's role, the divine guide. Enter Krishna, the charioteer and divine guide. Krishna isn't just a character in the Mahabharata. He's the embodiment of wisdom, compassion, and the cosmic order. When Arjuna turns to him for advice, Krishna doesn't immediately tell him what to do. Instead, he begins a profound dialogue that explores the nature of life, duty, and the soul. Krishna's teachings in the Bhagavad Gita are often misunderstood. At first glance, it might seem like he's encouraging Arjuna to fight, to take up arms, and kill his enemies. But this interpretation misses the deeper layers of his message. Krishna isn't advocating for violence. He's teaching Arjuna about Dharma, the righteous path. The concept of Dharma, duty versus desire. Dharma is a central theme in the Mahabharata, and it's not always easy to define. In simple terms, Dharma refers to one's duty or moral responsibility. For Arjuna, a warrior, his dharma is to fight for justice and protect the innocent. But his personal desires, his love for his family, his fear of sin, and his longing for peace are clouding his judgment. Krishna's first lesson is about understanding the difference between duty and desire. He explains that true dharma isn't about what we want to do, it's about what we must do. This doesn't mean blindly following orders or traditions. It means acting with integrity even when it's difficult. The eternal soul, a shift in perspective. One of the most profound teachings in the Bhagavad Gita is the concept of the eternal soul. Krishna tells Arjuna, The soul is neither born nor does it die. It is eternal. This means that the physical body is temporary, but the soul is immortal. From this perspective, death isn't an end, it's a transition. This teaching shifts Arjuna's perspective. He begins to see that his fear of killing his relatives is rooted in attachment to the physical world. Krishna isn't dismissing the value of life. He's encouraging Arjuna to see the bigger picture. The battle isn't just about life and death. It's about upholding dharma and restoring balance to the world. The path of karma yoga, selfless action. Krishna introduces Arjuna to the concept of karma yoga, the path of selfless action. He explains that true wisdom lies in performing one's duty without attachment to the results. This doesn't mean acting without care or compassion. It means acting with integrity and leaving the outcome to a higher power. For Arjuna, this means fighting not for personal gain or revenge, but for justice and righteousness. Krishna's message is clear. Violence isn't the goal, dharma is. Setting the stage for the battle. By the end of their conversation, Arjuna is transformed. He picks up his bow, ready to fight, but his motivation has changed. He's no longer driven by fear or doubt. He's guided by a sense of duty and a deeper understanding of life's purpose. This sets the stage for the Battle of Kurukshetra, but it also raises important questions. Did Krishna advocate for violence, or was he teaching a deeper spiritual lesson? To answer this, we need to explore the Bhagavad Gita further, examining its teachings and their relevance to our lives today. To be continued in Part 2, the Bhagavad Gita, a deeper dive into Krishna's teachings. Part 2, the Bhagavad Gita, a deeper dive into Krishna's teachings. In Part 1, we explored the context of the Mahabharata and Arjuna's moral dilemma on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Now, let's dive deeper into the Bhagavad Gita, the sacred dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, to understand whether Krishna truly advocated for violence, or if his teachings hold a more profound spiritual meaning. The essence of the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita is often described as a spiritual manual, a guide to living a life of purpose and integrity. It's not just a conversation about war, it's a conversation about life itself. Krishna's teachings are layered, addressing everything from the nature of the soul to the importance of duty and the path to liberation. At its core, the Gita is about Dharma, the righteous path. But what does that mean in the context of war? To answer this, we need to examine Krishna's key teachings and how they apply to Arjuna's situation. The three paths to liberation. Krishna outlines three primary paths to spiritual liberation. Karma Yoga, the path of selfless action. Jnana Yoga, the path of knowledge and wisdom. Bhakti Yoga, the path of devotion and love. For Arjuna, a warrior, the most relevant path is Karma Yoga. Krishna explains that true freedom comes from performing one's duty without attachment to the results. This doesn't mean acting without care or compassion. It means acting with integrity and leaving the outcome to a higher power. Karma Yoga, the path of selfless action. Karma Yoga is often misunderstood as a call to action at any cost. But Krishna's message is far more nuanced. He teaches that action is inevitable. Even inaction is a form of action. The key is to act without selfish desires or fear of consequences. For Arjuna, this means fighting not for personal gain or revenge, but for justice and righteousness. Krishna isn't encouraging violence. He's encouraging Arjuna to fulfill his duty as a warrior with a clear mind and a pure heart. The eternal soul, a shift in perspective. One of the most profound teachings in the Gita is the concept of the eternal soul. Krishna tells Arjuna, the soul is neither born nor does it die. It is eternal. This means that the physical body is temporary, but the soul is immortal. From this perspective, death isn't an end, it's a transition. This teaching shifts Arjuna's perspective. He begins to see that his fear of killing his relatives is rooted in attachment to the physical world. Krishna isn't dismissing the value of life. He's encouraging Arjuna to see the bigger picture. The battle isn't just about life and death. It's about upholding Dharma and restoring balance to the world. The nature of Dharma, duty versus desire. Dharma is a central theme in the Gita, and it's not always easy to define. In simple terms, Dharma refers to one's duty or moral responsibility. For Arjuna, a warrior, his dharma is to fight for justice and protect the innocent. But his personal desires, his love for his family, his fear of sin, and his longing for peace are clouding his judgment. Krishna's first lesson is about understanding the difference between duty and desire. He explains that true dharma isn't about what we want to do, it's about what we must do. This doesn't mean blindly following orders or traditions. It means acting with integrity even when it's difficult. The role of detachment. Detachment is another key theme in the Gita. Krishna teaches that true peace comes from letting go of attachment to the results of our actions. This doesn't mean becoming indifferent or uncaring. It means acting with love and compassion while accepting that we can't control everything. For Arjuna, this means fighting without hatred or desire for victory. He must do his duty as a warrior, but he must also surrender the outcome to Krishna. This balance between action and detachment is at the heart of Karma Yoga, the universal form, a cosmic perspective. To drive home his point, Krishna reveals his universal form, Vishvarupa. This awe-inspiring vision shows Arjuna the cosmic scale of life and death. Krishna explains that the battle is part of a divine plan, and Arjuna is merely an instrument in the larger scheme of things. This revelation shifts Arjuna's perspective from personal grief to universal duty. He realizes that his actions are part of a greater purpose, and his role is to fulfill his dharma without fear or hesitation. The call to action. By the end of their conversation, Arjuna is transformed. He picks up his bow, ready to fight, but his motivation has changed. He's no longer driven by fear or doubt. He's guided by a sense of duty and a deeper understanding of life's purpose. Krishna's teachings aren't a call to violence. They're a call to action rooted in Dharma. The Battle of Kurukshetra isn't just a physical conflict. It's a metaphor for the inner struggle between right and wrong, duty and desire, attachment and detachment. Relevance to modern life. The lessons of the Bhagavad Gita are timeless. They remind us that life is full of challenges, but with wisdom and compassion, we can navigate them with grace. Whether we're facing a personal crisis, a moral dilemma, or a global conflict, the Gita offers guidance on how to act with integrity and purpose. To be continued in Part 3, The Battle of Kurukshetra, a closer look at the war. Part 3, The Battle of Kurukshetra, a closer look at the war. In Part 2, we explored the profound teachings of the Bhagavad Gita and how Krishna guided Arjuna to understand his duty as a warrior. Now, let's shift our focus to the Battle of Kurukshetra itself. Was it merely a physical war, or does it hold deeper symbolic meaning? By examining the events, strategies, and outcomes of the battle, we can better understand whether Krishna's role was to advocate for violence or to impart timeless spiritual wisdom. The prelude to war, a conflict of dharma. The Battle of Kurukshetra didn't begin on the battlefield. It began in the hearts and minds of the Kauravas and Pandavas. The Kauravas, led by Duryodhan, were driven by greed, jealousy, and a hunger for power. They refused to share the kingdom with the Pandavas, despite numerous attempts at peace. The Pandavas, led by Yudhishthir, sought justice and the restoration of their rightful share. Krishna, as a mediator, tried to prevent the war. He proposed a peaceful solution. The Pandavas would be content with just 5 villages. But Duryodhan arrogantly refused, declaring he wouldn't give even a needlepoint of land. This refusal made war inevitable. Krishna's efforts to avoid violence highlight that war was never his first choice. The armies, a reflection of inner conflict. The 2 armies assembled at Kurukshetra were vast, with millions of soldiers, elephants, and chariots. On one side were the Kauravas, representing adharma, unrighteousness, and on the other were the Pandavas, representing Dharma, righteousness. But this wasn't just a clash of armies, it was a clash of values. The Kauravas, despite their strength, were plagued by ego, deceit, and moral corruption. The Pandavas, though fewer in number, were guided by principles of truth, justice, and humility. This contrast underscores the central theme of the Mahabharata, the eternal struggle between good and evil. Krishna's role, the divine strategist. Krishna played a unique role in the battle. He chose not to wield weapons, but to serve as Arjuna's charioteer and guide. This decision symbolizes his role as a spiritual mentor rather than a warrior. Throughout the battle, Krishna provided strategic advice, but his primary focus was on upholding Dharma. One of the most famous moments in the battle is when Krishna reveals his universal form, Vishvarupa, to Arjuna. This awe-inspiring vision shows Arjuna the cosmic scale of life and death, reminding him that the battle is part of a divine plan. Krishna's guidance wasn't about winning the war. It was about fulfilling one's duty with integrity and detachment. The rules of war, a test of morality. The Mahabharata outlines strict rules of warfare, emphasizing fairness and honor. For example, battles were to be fought only during daylight hours, and unarmed or retreating soldiers were not to be attacked. However, as the war progressed, these rules were repeatedly broken, especially by the Kauravas. The Pandavas, guided by Krishna, tried to adhere to the rules, but they were often forced to adapt to the Kauravas' treachery. This moral complexity adds depth to the story, showing that even in a righteous cause, maintaining integrity can be challenging. Key moments in the battle. Several key moments in the battle highlight the themes of Dharma and Adharma. The fall of Bhishma, the granduncle of both the Kauravas and Pandavas, was a formidable warrior. He fought for the Kauravas out of loyalty, but was conflicted in his heart. His fall, pierced by Arjuna's arrows, symbolized the end of an era and the inevitability of change. The death of Drona, the teacher of both sides, was tricked into believing his son had died. Distraught, he laid down his weapons and was killed. This moment raises questions about the morality of deception, even in a just cause. The killing of Karna, the tragic hero, was Arjuna's greatest rival. Despite his noble qualities, he fought for the Kauravas due to his loyalty to Duryodhan. His death marks the turning point in the war, highlighting the cost of misplaced allegiance. The end of Duryodhan's death, brought about by Bhima in a duel, signifies the triumph of Dharma over Adharma. However, his final moments also evoke sympathy, reminding us that even the wicked are human. The aftermath, a Pyrrhic victory. The Pandavas emerged victorious, but their victory was bittersweet. The war had claimed the lives of countless warriors, including their own relatives and friends. The kingdom they fought for lay in ruins, and the survivors were left to grapple with grief and guilt. This outcome underscores the futility of violence, even in a righteous cause. The Mahabharata doesn't glorify war. It portrays it as a tragic necessity, a last resort when all other options have failed. Krishna's message, beyond the battlefield. Krishna's role in the battle wasn't to advocate for violence, but to guide Arjuna and the Pandavas in upholding Dharma. His teachings in the Bhagavad Gita transcend the battlefield, offering timeless wisdom on how to live a life of purpose and integrity. The Battle of Kurukshetra serves as a metaphor for the inner struggles we all face between right and wrong, duty and desire, attachment and detachment. Krishna's message is clear. True victory lies not in conquering others, but in conquering oneself. To be continued in Part 4, the symbolism of the Mahabharata lessons for modern life. In Part 3, we examine the Battle of Kurukshetra and Krishna's role as a guide rather than an advocate for violence. Now, let's explore the deeper symbolism of the Mahabharata and how its lessons resonate with modern life. The Mahabharata isn't just an ancient epic, It's a timeless guide to navigating the complexities of human existence. By understanding its symbolism, we can uncover profound insights into duty, morality, and the human condition. The Mahabharata as a metaphor. The Mahabharata is often described as a mirror of life. Its characters, events, and conflicts reflect the struggles we all face between right and wrong, duty and desire, attachment and detachment. The Battle of Kurukshetra, in particular, serves as a metaphor for the inner battles we fight every day. For example, the Kauravas represent the negative qualities within us: greed, jealousy, and ego. The Pandavas, on the other hand, symbolize the positive qualities: truth, justice, and humility. The battle isn't just a physical conflict. It's a representation of the eternal struggle between good and evil within ourselves. Dharma, the central theme. Dharma, or righteous duty, is the central theme of the Mahabharata. But what does dharma mean in the context of modern life? It's about doing what's right, even when it's difficult. It's about balancing our personal desires with our responsibilities to others. In the Mahabharata, each character faces their own dharma. For Arjuna, it's his duty as a warrior. For Yudhishthir, it's his role as a king. For Draupadi, it's her resilience in the face of injustice. These characters remind us that dharma isn't a one-size-fits-all concept. It's deeply personal and context-dependent. The Bhagavad Gita, a guide to life. The Bhagavad Gita, often called the essence of the Mahabharata, offers practical wisdom for modern life. Its teachings on karma yoga, detachment, and selfless action are as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago. For instance, the concept of karma yoga, performing one's duty without attachment to the results, can help us navigate the pressures of work, relationships, and personal goals. It teaches us to focus on the process rather than the outcome, reducing stress and increasing fulfillment. The role of Krishna, the inner guide. Krishna's role in the Mahabharata is often interpreted as that of a divine guide. But he can also be seen as a symbol of the inner voice or conscience that guides us through life's challenges. When Arjuna is overwhelmed by doubt and fear, Krishna helps him see the bigger picture. Similarly, in our own lives, we often face moments of confusion and indecision. By tuning into our inner guidance, whether through meditation, reflection, or intuition, we can find clarity and purpose. The complexity of morality. One of the most striking aspects of the Mahabharata is its moral complexity. The characters are not black and white, they are shades of grey. Even the heroes make mistakes, and the villains have redeeming qualities. For example, Bhishma is a paragon of duty and honor, but his unwavering loyalty to the Kauravas leads to tragic consequences. Karna is noble and generous, but his allegiance to Duryodhan ultimately brings about his downfall. These characters remind us that life is rarely simple, and moral decisions often involve difficult trade-offs. The cost of war. The Mahabharata doesn't glorify war. It portrays it as a tragic necessity. The Pandavas win the battle, but at a great cost. They lose loved ones, and the kingdom they fought for is left in ruins. This outcome serves as a cautionary tale about the consequences of conflict, whether on a personal, societal, or global scale. It reminds us that violence, even in a just cause, often leads to suffering and loss. Lessons for modern life. The Mahabharata offers several lessons that are highly relevant to modern life. The importance of integrity. True success lies in staying true to one's values, even in the face of adversity. The power of detachment. Letting go of attachment to outcomes can bring peace and clarity. The value of self-reflection. Taking time to understand our motivations and actions can lead to personal growth. The need for balance. Balancing duty and desire, action and reflection is key to a fulfilling life. The universality of struggle. Everyone faces challenges, but with wisdom and resilience, we can overcome them. The Mahabharata in today's world. The Mahabharata's themes resonate deeply in today's world, where we grapple with issues like inequality, conflict, and environmental degradation. Its emphasis on Dharma, justice, and compassion offers a roadmap for addressing these challenges. For example, the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is one family, reminds us of our interconnectedness and the importance of working together for the common good. Similarly, the emphasis on sustainability and respect for nature in the Mahabharata aligns with modern environmental movements. To be continued in Part 5, the legacy of the Mahabharata, why it still matters. In Part 4, we explored the symbolism of the Mahabharata and its lessons for modern life. Now, let's reflect on the epic's enduring legacy and why it continues to resonate with people across the world thousands of years after it was written. The Mahabharata isn't just a story. It's a living tradition, a source of inspiration, and a guide to navigating the complexities of life. Its themes of duty, morality, and the human condition are timeless, offering wisdom that transcends cultural and temporal boundaries. The Mahabharata as a living tradition. The Mahabharata is more than an ancient text. It's a living tradition that continues to shape cultures, values, and beliefs. From festivals and rituals to art, literature, and cinema, its influence can be seen in countless aspects of daily life. For example, the festival of Diwali celebrates the return of the Pandavas to their kingdom after their exile, symbolizing the triumph of light over darkness. Similarly, the story of Draupadi's resilience in the face of injustice inspires movements for gender equality and social justice. The universal appeal of the Mahabharata. One of the reasons the Mahabharata has endured for so long is its universal appeal. Its characters and themes are relatable, reflecting the struggles and aspirations of people from all walks of life. For instance, Arjuna's dilemma on the battlefield resonates with anyone who has faced a difficult decision. Yudhishthir's commitment to truth inspires those who value integrity. Draupadi's strength and resilience empower those fighting for justice. These characters are not just figures from an ancient epic, they are archetypes that embody universal human experiences. The Mahabharata in art and literature. The Mahabharata has inspired countless works of art, literature, and performance. From classical dance dramas like Kathakali to modern adaptations like the TV series Mahabharata and the film Bahubali, its stories continue to captivate audiences. In literature, authors like R.K. Narayan, C. Rajgopalachari, and Devdutt Patnaik have retold the epic in ways that make it accessible to contemporary readers. These adaptations not only preserve the essence of the Mahabharata, but also reinterpret it for new generations. The Mahabharata and philosophy. The Mahabharata is also a treasure trove of philosophical insights. The Bhagavad Gita, in particular, is considered one of the most important spiritual texts in the world. Its teachings on karma yoga, detachment, and selfless action have influenced thinkers, leaders, and seekers across the globe. For example, Mahatma Gandhi drew inspiration from the Gita in his fight for India's independence. He saw it as a guide to non-violent resistance and a source of strength in the face of adversity. Similarly, philosophers like Aldous Huxley and Carl Jung have praised the Gita for its profound wisdom and universal relevance. The Mahabharata and social justice. The Mahabharata also addresses issues of social justice, making it highly relevant in today's world. Its characters challenge societal norms and question the status quo, offering insights into issues like caste, gender, and power. For instance, the story of Eklavya, a tribal boy who becomes a skilled archer despite being denied formal training, highlights the injustices of the caste system. Similarly, Draupadi's defiance in the face of humiliation challenges patriarchal norms and inspires movements for gender equality. The Mahabharata and environmentalism. The Mahabharata also contains lessons on environmental stewardship. Its emphasis on living in harmony with nature and respecting all forms of life aligns with modern environmental movements. For example, the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, The world is one family reminds us of our interconnectedness and the importance of protecting the planet. Similarly, the reverence for rivers, forests, and animals in the Mahabharata underscores the need for sustainable living. Why the Mahabharata still matters. The Mahabharata's enduring relevance lies in its ability to speak to the human condition. Its characters, themes, and teachings offer timeless wisdom that can guide us through life's challenges. It teaches us about duty and integrity. The Mahabharata reminds us of the importance of staying true to our values, even in the face of adversity. It encourages self-reflection. The epic invites us to examine our motivations and actions, fostering personal growth and self-awareness. It inspires resilience. Characters like Draupadi and Arjuna show us how to face challenges with courage and determination. It promotes compassion and justice. The Mahabharata's emphasis on Dharma and fairness encourages us to work for the greater good. It connects us to our roots. By exploring the Mahabharata, we connect with a rich cultural and spiritual heritage that shapes our identity. Conclusion: a timeless guide. The Mahabharata is more than an epic. It's a timeless guide to living a meaningful and fulfilling life. Its stories, characters, and teachings continue to inspire, challenge, and enlighten us, offering wisdom that is as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago. As we navigate the complexities of modern life, the Mahabharata reminds us of the importance of duty, integrity, and compassion. It encourages us to reflect on our actions, strive for justice, and live in harmony with others and the world around us. So, the next time you hear the story of the Mahabharata, remember that it's not just a tale from the past. It's a living tradition that can guide us toward a better future.